Let's quarter past the hour of 9, Rock City 101.9 FM in the city of Abeokuta. This is the voice of the people. Time for the Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show. Dele Ayodo is my name.
And I am Tobi Joseph. Like I mentioned earlier, we have in the studio the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Chief Jide Ojuko. Uh, just a few months ago, or a few weeks ago to be precise, the state government actually uh, displayed or actually talked about their plan to construct about 171 rural roads and, of course, 25 semi-urban roads. This is besides the many urban projects, realization of road projects, and, of course, road expansion projects across the state at various levels of completion. Um, this actually is one thing that that the people of Ogun State usually want some more clarification because they believe that with the gigantic projects across the state, almost every nook and cranny that are still begging for attention. How will the state government carry out this particular new construction project? Will they be completed before the expiration of the tenure of Senator Bikula Muso? Who are going to be the contractors? Are they going to be foreigners? Are they going to be expatriates? Are they going to be local contractors that have been saying that they've been sidelined when it comes to many of these important projects? Who can actually benefit from the process, the tender bids, and, of course, that will have some kind of rippling effect, positive rippling effect on the economy of the state. So many questions actually begging for answers. A few months ago or so, I recall that the news filtered in that the World Bank is trying to partner with Ogun State to construct about 51 rural roads. What is the state of this partnership with the World Bank? Is this included in this new rural roads? Or are these particular road projects included in the new rural roads that the state government wants to construct? All right, that's another question. We'll also try to provide answers to this morning.
And customarily, when we have a guest like this, a member of the State Executive Council, is an opportunity for you to also ask questions, find out what the issue you think needs clarification from government, provided you stay within the purview of the portfolio of such guests. So you also have the opportunity to ask Commissioner Jide Ojuko issues around local government and chieftaincy affairs that you think needs clarification. All right, straight to business. Honorable Commissioner, I thought just talk about those roads. Uh, my own interest is this. There are so many questions. There are so many roads. The people of Ogun State. In other parts, some people say every community will ask for a road rehabilitation or construction in the state. So obviously, we know the state government for now cannot accommodate all the roads that needs rehabilitation or construction. That's why I want to find out, or so many people also want to find out, how did you arrive at the ones you've listed? Exactly what's the number, and how did you arrive at those roads?
Thank you. Good morning, listeners at home. Again, I'm Jide Ojuko, the Honored Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Ogun State. Um, there have been so many agitations as to the pattern of provision of amenities in Ogun State. One of them is that there had been concentration on the urban, what we call quote and unquote, the urban centers of Ogun State. And our governor, His Excellency Senator Bikunle Amosu, kept on telling them they should hold on. When the time comes, the activities of this government in terms of infrastructure, infrastructural provisions will go beyond the city centers they are mentioning. And today I am pleased and happy to inform us that that action has been taken. The provision of these roads, especially in the rural and semi-rural areas, is in progress, and that virtually all the 20 local governments and 37 SCDs are beneficiaries from these projects. By the time we started to arrange or compile these roads, each local government and SCDA were asked to submit list of roads that are begging for rehabilitation, reconstruction, or new construction in their various local governments and SCDs. And this list was submitted in consultation with community leaders and people who are opinion molders in the various communities. There were large number of roads were submitted, and of course the agency in charge, which is the Office of Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, sat down, came up with a fine-tuned list of those roads that are now under process of construction. After they were picked, the government took pain to go to the national delis, and they asked for bidders, for interested public or people to come and bid for these roads. I am aware, I am sure they bidded, and just about 2 weeks ago, all these bids were opened in the public glare. It was not done in the corner, it was done in an open hall with all the bidders present at the event or ceremony. And this was done on for almost a week they were on it, or more than that. And I am also pleased to tell you that the bidding was opened in the presence of everybody, and today is in progress, and very soon I want to assure you the reconstruction will commence.
When you say the bidding was open in the presence of everybody, who are you talking about?
The contractors, the would-be contractors that bidded,
Who are these?
they were all everybody in Ogun State and beyond who are given the opportunity to sort of bid, and without knowing whom you are, without knowing where you have come from, without knowing your background, without having any contact, you were all given equal opportunities to bid, and they did. And when the time was ripe to open the bids, they were also all informed, and they were either present or represented at the ceremony of opening these bids.
Were these bids? Sorry, Dele, were these bids published in national dailies?
Yes, I remember it was in the Punch, it was in the Nations, and one or two other papers.
Exactly when will the contractors begin work now? Because that is also a matter of interest.
Yes, they will soon begin to work, because don't forget the bidding was
That's why I use the word exactly.
the bidding was completed last week.
Uh-huh.
And don't forget there are still other processes that will be done or complied with before the real contract or letter of contracts are issued. But I want to tell you, by we are almost running to the end of this month. Very, very soon.
Why I ask this question is that we've had examples like that where we will be informed that a construction will begin, contractors are going to move to some, and it is expected that government will have had its own schedule, its own timetable laid out for this project. So I can give you the example of the Kwakpa Lantoro Road, which today has still not begun, almost 3 years after we are told it will soon, work will soon begin on it. So exactly what's your time frame that people will begin to see contractors?
Yeah, don't forget the example you gave. If I think I'm right, is a federal government road, and if federal government says they are starting a particular project in Ogun State,
It was the state government that said so.
there might be some constraints because that road originally belongs and up to now belongs to the federal government. Probably there was a disconnect between the state and the federal government, and that will probably have caused delay. But in any case, let us leave that. The one we are talking about, I've told you, is under the purview of the office of the deputy governor. And all I can say is that the bidding had been opened, everybody was there, and they are now getting ready to publish the final list, which I'm sure they will soon do. As for when it's going to be done, it is that office that will be in a better position to say that.
This is when it was
Yeah,
done.
yes. But
All
I
right,
know,
Governor.
I can confirm they are working on it and they will soon start.
What's the position of Ogun State government on this issue of local government autonomy?
Well, let me state my own personal opinion on Ogun State autonomy. Because until we sit down as a government and discuss it and come up with a position, that will be the official position of the state. But as somebody who's in charge of local government today in Ogun State, I have the opportunity of expressing my personal opinion. And my opinion is that nobody, nobody is against local government autonomy. Because of course it's the third tier of government and it has the right to exist and operate freely. But my opinion is that as local governments are today, they still need to be supervised by the state. And if anybody wants to give them autonomy, which nobody is contesting, there should also be financial autonomy. Because in a scenario where you give somebody autonomy, it's like somebody you send to the farm without a hoe or cutlass. What do you expect the person to do? So if you want to give autonomy to the local governments, first of all, the autonomy must be reflected from the sharing of allocation from the top. That is to say, give local governments more money. If you give them more money, to me, that is the kind of autonomy that can be called real autonomy. But if you give them autonomy without the correspondent fund, it's just, to me, it's not an autonomy. So my position is that, one, if there be autonomy for local governments, more money should be provided. They should not become parasites of the state government. Two, fiscal and mobilization committee should shed light or shed weight or load of the federal government and pass to the local governments. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is the Nigerians live and stay in the local governments, not in the federal government. And then the federal government hasn't got land. If you want to talk of land, it's local government and state. So summarily what I'm saying is that as of today, local governments haven't got enough funds to claim the autonomy we are talking about. And if for any reason we want to, yes, they want to be autonomous, give them more money. No problem.
From your experience as the supervisor
Yeah.
of that sector,
Yeah.
why is it difficult, or why is the state not willing to let go some of the areas where these local governments can make money for themselves? We all know those areas. I'm talking about
those
the
areas.
parks, the garages, tenements, even radio TV licenses, and things that are to some people in bits like that.
Let me first of all say that states have not taken over 100% all the areas you are referring to from local governments. But again, if states were to allow local governments to, I'm talking in terms of funding or finances, to let local governments go. Ogun State, for example, there will be a lot of chaos in Ogun State local government system today. Because since I got to that office, I wouldn't know what happened in the past. No month, there is no month that funds allocated to local governments are enough to pay salaries of staff alone, not to talk of pensioners, not to talk of primary school teachers, not to talk of other responsibilities of the local government. Don't forget, there are political office holders, there are this and that in the local government system. So it is the state that has been complementing the little fund that has been coming from the federal government to the local governments. Since I go to the office, all the time we are talking.
That's
And
the question.
in most
Why
cases,
is it difficult
I
for
am
them
coming.
to?
It's
Because they have areas where constitution has spelled out for them to make money, and
before,
then the heads of such local government, chairmen or whatever it is, also have their own different ideas on how to make money.
yeah.
But having to come back all the time to seek permission, to get permission approval from the state, makes it difficult for them to make the money.
I don't think so. When when they were collecting this, the few revenue heads that were sort of harmonized, not taken over, that were harmonized by the state with the local government system, what they were collecting was far, far, far beyond or below what was expected. I'll give an example. In the area of Okada, whatever, when local governments were collecting, we knew what they were collecting. Today, when it was harmonized, that is, states came to sort of boost their capacity and capability to collect. And under the agreement that if we help you to collect, at the end of each month, this is what will belong to you. It was just a sort of agreement between the state and the local government, not total, the kind of takeoff people are thinking about. We said, okay, you cannot collect these things, and whatever you collect, you are collecting probably 10% of collectible revenue, because we observed you may not have the capacity to, you may not have the ability to mobilize fully and collect this revenue. In our companies today, if a local government chairman says, I am going to visit this company to ask for money, to ask for this from them, in most cases we discovered many of our companies don't even give the right recognition to the local government chairman. But anytime they hear the governor is coming, you will see the way they'll be running, putting their heads together. So this is the kind of thing we said, okay, let us assist these local governments using the state materials, the state facilities to help them collect. And once they are collected, they go into a particular account. At the end of the month, when their funds come from Abuja and it's not enough, we go to that place and supplement what is coming from Abuja. So it's not that we are collecting or we are asking them not to collect, but we are only helping them to collect what ab initio they haven't got the capacity or capability to collect. For example, they were collecting before 10 naira. Today, where they were collecting 10 naira before, with the collaboration and assistance of the state, they are collecting more than 100 naira.
So, can we have an idea of how much the figure local governments are making?
I cannot give you that figure now, because
It's in what range do we have it?
I can only give a demonstrative figure, which I have given. That was why I said.
No, because I want to have an idea of whether truly this local government can now. I know you've explained why states should supervise them, can on their own make some money.
Let me give you as an example. Last month, what came to the state, to the local governments, or there were 1 point something billion from the federal purse. You get my point. Primary school teachers alone, salary bill was 1.9. So it means all that has been all that have come from Abuja will be used or can be used to pay primary school teachers alone. Local government staffers have not been paid. Pensioners of local government have not been paid. Local government, political officers have not been paid. And when 1.9 came, the total bill of local governments in that month was about 2 point something billion. 2.9, close to 3 billion. Yes. So there's always a shortfall of at least 600, 700 million every month that these local governments cannot cannot cope with. So, and as a responsible state government, you cannot just leave them like some state governments are doing, because in some states, whatever that comes, just throw it to the local government to go and share. Whether it's enough, they don't want to know. Whether it's not, they don't want to know. And that is why you have been seeing the stability you are seeing, you are observing in our local government system. You don't leave them to their problems. Make sure you come closer to them and ensure that their problems are sort of resolved.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, one of the major reasons why some people are against autonomy for local government is the fact that primary school teachers have to be taken care of. The debate is on as regards who should take over that responsibility of the primary school teachers. Is it the state or the federal government? The federal government seems to be willing to take over that responsibility on the basis of autonomy for the local government. Which particular tier of governments do you think, or would you prefer, take over that burden of primary school teacher salaries?
Well, ordinarily, the tier of government that has the money to give should take over the responsibilities of primary school teachers, because that is where you and me started. That is our foundation, and we should always look for their welfare. No foundation, no building. So my position is that whichever, whether federal or local government, anybody that can fund regularly these primary school teachers should take it over. But my position is that federal government should take it over for security reasons. Today, is on the soldiers of the local government system. But what is coming to local government in terms of funding is not enough. If, for example, state does not come into assisting or helping the local governments, if 1.9 came from Abuja and 1.9 is for the primary school, all they will do is probably pay half of the primary school teachers and use the remaining for other things. But that is not the case in Ogun State. So my advice is that for local government to remove burden from the local government system, the federal government should take over the responsibility of the primary school teachers. After all, they are the people in charge of superb. So if you have taken over superb, take over the salaries of the teachers too. If you can take over infrastructures, take over the emoluments of these of the teachers.
All right, so
that's my position.
let me quickly take it back to the issue of road construction. Many indigenous contractors have complained that many of the infrastructure developmental projects ongoing in the state, they've not been able to participate as they would or as they should, so to speak. You have members of ASOGRASH, this Association of Granite Suppliers and Hauliers, who believe that they've not really been patronized by the contractors. So that has really not helped the economy of the state. Are these going to be very well considered in this new construction that are about to begin? And if they are going to be considered, how are you going to marry that with the fact that so many people in Ogun State believe that many of these indigenous contractors still do not do a perfect job as many of these expatriates are doing?
Thank you. First of all, I disagree with the view that local suppliers, contractors have not been given the opportunity in the current ongoing projects in the city centers. If you go to NNPC Junction now, you find artisans from Ogun State, so many of them working on that project. They are from where? They are from Ogun State. Go to any of our projects, you find local welders, local suppliers, local anything on doing either the carpentry job, the welding job, or whatever. They are not Chinese, they are local people. Two, as for suppliers, the rule is that if a job is given to anybody, all these flyovers, bridges you are looking at, they must patronize the local quarries, the local transporters, the local suppliers. And that is the bitter truth. Go and check. You will see them there. You will see trucks belonging to Nigerian National uh, uh, Tippers Association or all other kinds of trucks they are using. So many of these components are being supplied by the local people. And like I said, if you pass through NNPC now, you will see our young boys working on that bridge. As for the one that is coming, I've told you, virtually all the local governments and SCDs have a minimum of 3 or 4 roads that will be constructed in their domain. And the thing is, the chairmen were charged, and all leaders of the government and the party in Ogun State, to go and ensure that their people applied, local people applied, local leaders applied. And that is from what came up, from the faces I saw when they were opening the bid. There are so many of our people that applied. And by the time the thing comes out, you will discover that majority of them will be local people from the localities where the roads are being constructed. But the fact is that while the thing was giving public um, whatever, is to ensure that good job is done. At the end of the day, when the bid is out and the name of the contractor is out, local leaders will be told, Mr. A or Mr. B, she is the contractor for ABC Road. If there's anything wrong, is the man. So that is the kind of thing that is going to happen. Majority of these roads will be handled by our local people.
All right, 15 minutes to the hour of 10, and we'll have with us on the Citizens Forum, Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM, the State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Jide Ojuko. Commissioner Ojuko, have you completed the sharing of assets between the local governments and the LCDs?
Yeah, thank God that has been completed a few days ago. And today, the local government and the SCDAs are with their assets, trying to settle down. Today, they are with their staffers, all categories, trying to settle down. And last time when I came, there was this question of availability of offices. Today, all of them have gotten their offices. It may not be enough, but at least they have what they can sit down and take off as their takeoff point.
Thank you. Since you have mentioned that it may not be enough, I'm going to ask two questions from that. The first one is, since there are not enough, who is going to complete or made up the ones that are left? Is it you, the state, as part of your assistance to them, or they will sort it out themselves? And the other one is any arbitration going on as regards that exercise.
I don't know what in the arbitration
Do
or
we have
complaint.
issues you are trying to resolve
Yes.
between the local government and the
yes,
LCDs?
yes.
Because I know of some.
Interestingly and happily enough, I want to use the opportunity to commend that committee that did the job. Out of 57 local governments and SCDs that we have, at the end of the sharing exercise, I think we have complaints in 3. And I would say 3 are minor complaints in 2. Because where you are talking of, I am supposed to get this bus, only one bus is the area of agitation.
Just minor.
It's very, very minor. So where we have 3, what I call major complaints about borders on boundary issues, and that will be resolved. So we have asked the committee or the local government that has any complaint or SCDA to write to the ministry. We'll pass them on to the committee, and the committee will look into their complaints.
So when the 3 are
So virtually, at the end of the day, I've spoken with almost all the chairmen. Last week we had a meeting which comprised all the chairmen of the 37 SCDAs and the 20 local governments. And the question was thrown open to them. Everybody was happy, minus the few ones I said. So virtually I've spoken to them, and as of today, those are the few complaints.
Who are the few ones we are talking about?
The few ones we are talking about, we have Yewa North and Ogun. And I'm telling you, as of yesterday, I have resolved that one myself. We have Jide Ojuko and Ayodo Water. We have Agbara Igbesa. We have Ijebu the South. And all these things are being compiled for resolution.
So the second question, who will supply the very small inadequacies you talked about?
Well, again, I am happy to inform you that Ogun State people, communities accepted the creation of these SCDs. We want to thank our community leaders who have provided offices for the SCDs, and they are still ready to do more for them. That is one angle. Again, don't forget, these local governments have just started. They are children, kids that we are nursing to grow to like the other local governments that have been in existence. So naturally, we should allow them to grow systematically. You don't rush them. So what I'm saying is that as they are going on, solutions will be found into their accommodation problem or problems, if there's any. But I want to tell you, communities are coming to their aid, and they are doing very well. And that is why I want to thank those communities that I know that have been helping our ICDs, because they are happy that the government is coming closer to them, and they don't want to lose the opportunity.
Now, your ministry is also in charge of chieftaincy. I also want to believe that your ministry approves the nomination and appointment of ballets. Is that so, sir?
No,
the ballets.
no.
Okay, what's the process of?
The process of nominating ballet is squarely on the soldiers, of the traditional rulers. Communities will identify whom they want. They will take them to. There's what we call prescribed authority. They will take them to the KBC in charge of the area, who is the prescribed authority. Present the man to the KBC for installation. But before they do the installation, KBC will take permission from the government. And that is, we are not doing that because of anything. We want to know, we want to make sure that our database is.
That's the point I'm going.
Our database is always furnished with the right information at all times.
Yes, that's what at least your ministries are aware of the appointment of any ballet. Now, that takes me to the issue itself, security and the role of these ballets. It's been proven now, it's not in the open, that we have some of them who collude with some group of criminals, particularly kidnappers and then cultists across. The case of Lagos is an example, and of course the police have also on several occasions also said those who are found with human parts moving it around with it are not, they are rare within city centers like this. What monitoring effect? What monitoring apparatus have you put in place? And then your data and how effective have it been? Because we still have cases of kidnapping, people being kept in the bush and communities in the state.
Thank you. Let me first of all say again that the issue of security, kidnapping, and all whatnots is not at the doorstep or doorsteps of violence alone. There are other sources, other collaborators, other principal suspects that are involved in this kind of unwholesome behavior. But as far as we are concerned, what concerns us is to sanitize the traditional system in Ogun State.
Lagos has come out
And
with a clear
yes,
position on
yes,
it.
I'm coming. Before we came, what we met on ground was not very, very neat, and it's not what it's supposed to be. And our position is that if we can know the number of Obas in Ogun State and their domain, we must equally know the number of ballads that we have in Ogun State and their domain. We have discovered before we came and when we came that there are multiple ballads in some communities. Some will have 2, 3 ballads. And because of that situation, security issue comes in. Because in some cases, 2 ballads will be holding parallel coronation anniversary at the same time. 2 ballads will be giving instructions at the same time in one community. That we have discovered. And because of that, a few months ago, what we did was to write to all traditional councils in Ogun State. For now, there's no installation of Bale. We placed embargo on installation of Bale, and the embargo is still in force, so that we can clear the system and know exactly who and who is Mr. A, the Bale in A community, the Bale in B community, and who are actually the genuine Bales. Because in most cases, you will not find any responsible traditional ruler or Bale who have not been with kidnappers. But in the same way we have multiple Bales, you don't even have their records. You don't know where they have come from. Anything can happen. So as of today, the first step is to place embargo on installation of Bales. 2, we have now asked each local government and SCDAs to supply us with the information of the existing Bales in their local governments and SCDAs, including photocopies of their certificates. We have just finished collecting that. After that, we now sit down and look into all their papers, sieve out the bad ones. When I say bad ones, those ones that are fake, not the ones that are not fake. Now, we now collaborate with Ogun State Council of Bales to have a straight and clear, straightforward jacking of how many Bales we have in Ogun State. And of course, it's not just a very a junk record like that. We want to clear them local government by local government, NCDA by NCDA. Already we have the records in our office, but we want to save them, know the good ones and not. Once we do that, our database is improved. Now we now give the responsibility to each traditional councils to monitor them, and that if anything happens, you know who to apprehend in any community or in any place.
How far have you gone in dealing with that?
We have, like I said a few days ago, concluded and completed the submission of this list and names of Bales. We will now sit down and work on the records and ensure, determine those that are good, those that are not good, the multiple ones, those that have. We have discovered fake certificates in some areas. Certificates were purportedly issued by prominent traditional rulers that, of course, we discovered it was not issued by this traditional ruler. So these are the kind of things we are going to do. Today, we don't want to increase the number that is on ground. Let us sanitize the number that we have before we start increasing them. That is the position now.
Jide Ojuko, what exactly is stalling the installation of a new Akari government?
I don't think that is not a matter for this forum. But like any other, it's not Akaribu alone. There are other bars that have even gone before Akaribu that we
Yeah,
have
the
not
Akaribo one
installed.
is a paramount thing, so
Is it
maybe that's why it's of importance to the general public.
Because it's a paramount ruler, that's why we must be very careful before on our part of installing a new one. You have just said it. If you want to be careful in installing a Bale, you should be more careful in installing an Akaribu, a number of that status. So it's not a thing we can rush. If you rush, you get into trouble, the government will be blamed. So please, we will soon be there.
All right, so we have to take a break now for the national news at 10. After the national news, we'll still have in the studio the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Chief Jide Ojuko. We are looking at a whole lot of issues this morning. We're primarily focusing on the 171 rural roads to be constructed by the state government and 25 semi-urban roads. If you have questions or comments, you can start sending them as messages to 32120 now. All you have to do is to type rock, arrow seeking, leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send to 32120. Or you reach us on Facebook or Twitter. Our Twitter handle remains at RockCityFM, and our Facebook fan page, RockCityFM 11.9. We'll be back. Stay with us.
All right, I must thank you for still being there listening to the Daybreak Show Citizens Forum on Rock City 101.9 FM. The voice of the people this morning with us is the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in Ogun State, Chief Jide Ojuko. We have talked about issues that has to do with local government administration, both our LG, local government, our LCDA, local council, development authority. We talked about the rural roads, and of course we also expressed his position and that of the state government on the different issues around chieftaincy affairs in the state. We'll now turn over the microphone to you, our listeners, to get what you think about.
Just a good morning.
Good morning.
Honorable Commissioner.
How are you, sir?
Good morning. How is your family?
We are fine, thank God. And yours?
Yes, you are in charge of local government affairs.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you, sir, how far are you making effort to see that this state government work, that we see the work they are doing? Local governments are supposed to be in charge of rural roads and any feeder roads in town, but they are not doing it. Hey, look, come to Ijeja Road here. That road from Jimo, opposite Jimo to Okesoko. I think you know that road. That road. So many people have been crying for days. So many potholes on that road. And nobody seems to be doing anything.
Thank you, sir.
We have been making effort to fill these potholes by ourselves. To carry
All right, thank you.
Local government is not doing anything.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What
2
I
minutes.
why I need you to make sure this local government do their work.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Next call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Dele and Tobi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Ogun Commissioner, good morning, sir.
How are you, sir?
Yes, this is Yinka from Ayodo.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there's a particular question I think should be asked our new commissioner.
Yes, sir.
The answers I got, I don't I'll go with the commissioner.
Okay.
Yes, I worked in a quarry before. There is a kind of cost. They do some projects and everything. They do almost everything. So if possible, they'll bring their skill. So commissioner was saying that okay, our workers are there. Yes, our skill labor. How many of them? How much are they in place? About the supplier team, I worked in a quarry before as a marketing manager. There was a particular, the owner of the quarry manager, I will not mention name. He was doing a project. So I approached it, I went to the Chinese something so that they will supply the garment. I'm telling you, they were just dribbling me.
Okay.
I went to Operation today one time when they came for this, what they call it, this Operation something. So believe it or not, quarry I own is a very important person in the state or in the country even. So I went to them, they dribbled me for months. So this one that is going on now, this is our expressway. I'm telling you, no supplier is supplying anything there. But I'm still in the business. I've left the quarry as a marketer. I'm on my own.
Okay.
Nobody supplying anything. So Tobi said, in the future, let it happen. But it's not happening now. It's not happening.
Okay.
Let it happen. So let's gain something from what is going on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. 32120 for short code.
Any calling from Kuto Adeokuta.
All right, sir.
Honorable Commissioner,
Sure.
I quite agree with you that the payment of private school teachers should be taken over by the federal government. But by the time they are autonomous, that is the local government, federal government should before then review revenue allocation for local government so that they could have more money to carry out their social responsibilities. And apart from this, I'm saying that local states should answer off collecting revenues that are made for states for local governments. Because the constitution is very clear about very clear on that. So I'm saying it to you that this local government, at the time they are autonomous, nobody will tell them to strengthen their machinery for the collection of revenues.
Thank you, sir.
Then finally, I am saying that I doubt the economic viability of those new local councils created. You cannot compare Lagos. You cannot compare Ogun to Lagos State. This is my submission. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Let's get another call up. Chief Ojuko.
Thank you, my brother. Well, I want to thank everybody that has put in one question or the other. Let me start from Kayode, who spoke about His Excellency's reaction to criticisms. I don't think that may be too correct. Here is the man I work with, and he is the man I interact with, and we have a council where we sit every Monday. If you see the way we discuss issues, I'm sure you will have a different view. However, I want to assure you that those roads that we have started, that we have embarked on, will be completed before the tenure of this administration, by the grace of God. Let's put everything in the hands of Almighty Allah. We are, as human beings, we will try, and as our Creator, let Him assist us so that whatever is our ambition is fulfilled and well fulfilled. So let us hope, and I want us to be hopeful that the completion will come. As for rural roads, we have two types of rural roads. There is one that is purely that is being attacked with graders. That is those that don't need what do we call this? They are purely art roads. They are not roads that will be tarred. Those ones are inner rural roads. Just few months ago, this government provided graders to all the federal constituencies in the state for them to handle this type of roads that does not need tarring, that needs only grading, make sure it is passable, it is smooth. These roads leading to our villages and rural areas. Those graders have been passed to the federal constituencies, and I'm sure they've started using them. Very soon, you start to see the impact of
Who
this
is going to
development.
supervise or monitor it so that people can
The
also
graders
ask
are with
questions
the
from
local
that
governments under the auspices of the local government chairman. To the extent that the government has also gone further so that this supervision can be thorough. It has appointed consultative what we call CAC members for all the local governments. They will oversee all these kind of rural roads to ensure that they are graded by the councils, and they are the people who will report back to the government as to whether these graders are properly utilized and they are normally utilized for what it is they are meant for. So that is another area of balancing. Other roads that need tarring, we are talking of the 170 roads and the other roads, and I want to assure you, very soon those who won the bids will be published and work will start on these 170 roads. I have told you earlier on that at least we have 3 or 4 minimum roads per SCDA and local government in local state, and by the time we come on board on that, well, it's going to be very reasonable and a lot of improvement will come. Secondly, well, in terms of local government performance, I have said it on this program that one of the challenges local governments are facing now is that of availability of funds. Local government that cannot pay salary, that cannot pay pensioners, that cannot pay workers. How do you want the local government to go and look for money to grade road, to go and look for money to tar roads? So, well, first of all, the problem we are having with local governments nowadays is the availability of funds for them to operate. And if not because of the ingenuity, the financial engineering of this government and governor, I don't know the position of our local government these days. An example, like I told you, is the primary school teachers. It's eating deep into the fund of local governments. And until something is done to that, local government not be available to do a few other things other than to pay salaries and other emoluments. Salaries they cannot even pay. In Edo State, I don't want to mention, I'm sorry. In some states today in Nigeria, governors will just pick whatever is available for local governments and just give it to them. If it is not, that is your lot.
But Edo State has said councillors will be on part-time.
And that is because, you know why they are saying that? The bottom line is that there's a problem in terms of funding. Secondly, or thirdly, query suppliers. I think what this government has done, and I'm surprised with that with Uncle Yinka, who is saying that they are not benefiting as quarry owners from what is happening. I want to say I will go back and ask our Honorable Commissioner for Works, but all I know is that they have clearly told these people that 35% of their materials should be sourced locally. Today, I will take your question to the appropriate quarters, and I want to assure you something will be done in that regards. Mr. Kilani, primary school teachers, thank you that you aligned with my position. That is just the truth and the bitter truth. There's nothing we can do. Owó ní tòun ò bá sí nílé, kó má dámọ̀ràn lẹ́yìn òun. Gbogbo wàhálà tá à ń fa, all these things that is burdening us, borders on funds, borders on money. So my appeal again is for the federal government through the Fiscal and Mobilization Commission to shed load, give more money to the local governments, and take away quite a lot of the burden from them. Because to me, federal government is eating too much of the revenue that is accrued to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I think part of that revenue, most of them are being wasted. And such waste should be passed on to the local government for them to make use of it in a better way. States should hands off local government revenue. Well, we are not actually taking over their revenue. We're only helping them to collect. And in any case, that is just we are performing an experiment. By the time we get to a point, I'm telling you, we may have to review that position. Big Daddy, well, what we are saying is that the local government that we have just created, they will work, they will survive. Don't forget Lagos State started like this. And today, you don't feel the essence of local government presence because maybe the size of your local government before. But now, you have a chairman, you have a councillor, and governance has already moved closer to where you are at Ijeja. I'm sure there's a particular ACD that is closer to your area, and I'm sure you are going to benefit more than ever before. Thank you.
All right, let's quickly go through the tweets and messages. All right, so this one says rural roads should be the utmost responsibility of the local government, but most of them are in comatose. That is Shobola Rotimi Taiwo. I will call Dolani Robert says local government autonomy will help in developing the rural areas under the leadership of the chairman and supervision of the chiefs and Obas. All right, AK Specs tweeted this. If you had asked them, that is local government and LCDA for it, something need to be done concerning it, e.g. Iyano Ilogo Road. and Ojore Logo roads, all at Ota. They are in an appalling state.
Those are part of the rural roads that
Will be constructed. Okay? Alright, you heard that at Kinsey. Ewejobi Yusuf says, from what I can deduce from the Commissioner's discussion, it's obvious our local governments are doing nothing to generate revenue internally.
That is wrong.
Okay, Kolawole Baker tweeted this: local government autonomy is the best solution in the development of LCDAs, hence basic amenities follows. 2. Road is not only the needs of the rural people, their health is also paramount. That's Kolawole Baker. Sakara Man Olayode says, good morning to everybody in the studio. I think the state government should award the development of rural areas to local government because every rural road is extremely bad. Isaac Oloyede says, when are you going to lift the embargo placed on installation of ballets in the state?
When the situation improves.
Emina Vinci says, Commissioner, sir, what are the issues surrounding the coronation of a new Akarigo that necessitated extreme carefulness? I hope all rural roads contracts are given to indigenes of the area if they have the capacity so they can be held accountable by their people. I tend to agree with the Commissioner that local government autonomy should come with increased allocation since they refuse to generate IGR. Primary school teachers' payments should stay with local governments in my own opinion, but local government should be given increased capacity to generate funds. You want to quickly react to that?
I think we are just saying almost the same thing. If you say the payment of primary school teachers should be given to local governments, provided they are given more money. Without money, they cannot pay. So, if it is real government that can pay, let them pay. What is important is for the money to get to the hands of the teachers. And as I went deep.
All right, Isaac Loyede says, why have you failed to call the Bale of Shoyinka Okeoko over the issue of petition against him brought to your office for the past months to settle?
We have had so many meetings on that issue, and I want to assure you we are very much on top of it. It's just one out of so many cases.
Okay, Professor Abola AAA says, is there any need for the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs when there are no functional local government? I say no and no. Yemi Da Vinci says states have too much overbearing influence on local governments because of the joint allocation account governors use. This should be scrapped immediately. Commissioner, sir, what is your position on the scrapping of CX and INEC conducting local government elections?
Well, that's a constitutional matter, but my opinion is that people just have different misconstrue the existence of state INEC. Don't forget, the acquisition you are giving to state INEC of supporting A or B is also given to national INEC. You have not forgotten the issue of two-thirds saga in the UPN and NPN days. That was an election that was conducted by the national INEC. So there is both low and Igbanja. Once the constitution still says states should maintain their electoral body or bodies, I think so be it.
The other issue about that is who will now fund elections in states? Is it going to be national, the state that will provide money for?
If you have decided, you have decided as a state to have your electoral body, the onus is on you to fund.
But now that they have said it's going to be
Conducted by
INEC.
Well, let's wait and see. Once it's going to be conducted by INEC, that's a national body. It means the fund must come from the national purse.
Okay, let's go.
All right, let's go to the messages now, coming in via the short code. This one says, sir, as Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, did any chief or does any chief, you're supposed to say, does any chief has the right to confirm chieftaincy title to anybody in the community when that community have a KBC or Bale without the authority from the KBC? Because in some communities we have parallel government with KBC in their domain.
I think KBC, once you have a KBC in a particular domain, it has priority and authority over that domain than over the Bale and all other chiefs.
Can we get the list of the 3 rural roads to be done in the local governments and LCDs in
Come to my
Odeda
office.
particular? Okay.
You get it, or go to your chairman of Odeda local government or Ilugun LCD. They'll give you the information.
Alright, that's Latif Atonda. Shudubi Road down to the village extension is in terrible state of impossibility. The community keeps doing its best, yet Governor Musu and the Honorable Commissioner have not deemed it fit to include this road in its programs. 2019 is near.
You cannot do everything at a go.
Alright, Victor from Onikolobo, that's the answer from the Commissioner. Sir, where is Abeokuta Southwest LCDA Secretariat now in Abeokuta? That's sure.
I think it's along, it's very close to Kinta, Southwest on Abiola Way. That's why you have one of the Baptist primary school compound. That's why you have the Abeokuta Southwest. No, that is Southwest. Southwest, please find around the Geja also. That is where the Southwest is.
Okay, good morning, Commissioner. Please help us to beg our governor to pay local government gratuity. The last payment was paid in August 2011. That's Pius from Shade.
Well, government is making efforts, and I think if I go into records, I think we have gone beyond 2011. We have gone beyond 2011.
Okay. Alright, let's go back to the calls. We'll come back and deal with more of the messages and tweets later on. Who's on the line? Please, Honorable Commissioner, kindly educate us on the financial miracle the government intends to perform to solve the financial problems you keep talking about with the creation of LCDs. That's Olatunji Zacchaeus.
That is the economy. It's a national issue. Let's pray for the federal government for things to improve and all the hindrances they are having to get out of their way. And more importantly, corruption should be curbed. That is, our 3 problems in Nigeria are A, corruption, B, corruption, C, corruption. Once that is over, we'll get there. Thank you.
In line with true federal system of government, why should the state government award a contract of rural roads on behalf of the local government? State government should allow local government to perform their duties as enshrined in the constitution and not render them redundant. Alhaji Busura has that to say. I can only commend the efforts of the state government with regards to the proposed construction of rural and community roads it is embarking on, even though it is an usurpation of the duties of the local government. As for me, I do not think the 1999 Constitution, as amended, that we presently operate has created any vacuum with regards to the powers, duties, and responsibilities of the local government. However, the state governments have never complied with the provisions of the Constitution. Sincerely, I do not buy the position that there is no money to steal at the local government level. Oloide Ismail is saying that Olaulo from Ijong from Yewa North and K2 LCDA need the attention of the state government in the areas of education and road construction. K2 LCDA in particular has not been in operation at all. Sir, Commissioner, I want to thank the chairman of Abeokuta Southwest LCDA. He's doing well. The secretariat now at Ibarra roundabout. I visited the palace just now. I visited the place just now. That's Shola. And this last one, Honorable Commissioner, sir, the community, the town chiefs were different from the city chiefs. But the Obas intervene. Alright, so we're sorry, Larry, your message is not clear.
Okay.
Alright, Commissioner, just the dropping word.
Well, thank you. My dropping word or words will be, let us pray for this government and governor. He's trying to leave a legacy that everybody in the state will appreciate at the appropriate time. 2, I also want to assure you that it is not the intention of government to usurp the powers of local governments, to make them redundant, other than to ensure that they exist from all the things the state has been doing to ensure that we have a surviving, a working, and existing local government.
Alright, yes, this is where we will end it for the day. The Daybreak Show Citizens Forum. Tomorrow is a Friday, that means an open day. You keep the debate on. I also thank everybody who joined us via the telephone, tweet, Facebook, and those of you who simply just listen and appreciate it. Dele Ayodo is my name. I say God bless you all, God bless Nigeria, and God bless Rock City.
Honorable Commissioner Chief Jide Ojuko, I want to appreciate you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you, everybody.
We wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll have you very soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, we want to appreciate the Director of Local Government Affairs and the Minister of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs who accompanied the Honorable Commissioner in person of Mrs. Olushola Ushashono. Thank you very much. I am Tobi Joseph. Have a wonderful Thursday.